The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is a 2008 film directed by Mark Herman and filmed mostly in Budapest, Hungary. The film takes place in and around the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp in Poland. The year is 1942, and World War II is currently ravaging the European continent, and the story is told through the eyes of a young German boy, Bruno, as his family is forced to move near the camp and Bruno begins to explore there. As he inspects the giant walls enclosing Auschwitz, he meets a young Jewish boy, Shmuel, and begins to realize that maybe all the things he was told about Jews in the concentration camps weren't honest.
In the story, we have a few main characters, two being two younger boys. In this photo, you've got Bruno. Bruno is a 9-year-old German boy who had to leave his friends and family and really his whole life back in Berlin, and his father had moved to a new position. So that's why Bruno's family ends up moving to Poland. Bruno has a special attachment for adventure stories. He generally abides by parents' strict rules. He occasionally breaks them in order to go exploring. And here in the next photo is the other boy, Shmuel. Shmuel is a Jewish boy who is referred to as the Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which is the title for both the novel and the film. He belongs to a family of Polish Jews who were arrested by Nazis and imprisoned at the Auschwitz concentration camp. As you can see in the photo here, that's where Bruno and Shmuel would meet and hang out and talk, and because Bruno likes adventuring, that's where they'd end up. A lot of time was spent there talking about their experiences. And here in the next photo, we've got Bruno's dad, Ralph. Bruno's dad is a very stern, anti-Semitic father. He hates the Jews and doesn't seem like he cares about anything. He doesn't care about his family or anything until his son dies at the end of the story. And here's another main character, Bruno's sister, Gretel. Gretel's 11-year-old. On the rare occasion that she's not acting superior to Bruno, Gretel and Bruno talk about their shared loneliness at their house in Poland with no one around. In her spare time, she was always wanting to learn about the war. She generally looks at collections of war books or using maps to keep up with the progress of the war.
So to fully understand this movie, we must dive into the background just to get a good grasp on it and understand what's happening. So this is a Holocaust/World War II movie based on the year 1942. This was kind of in the heart of World War II, in the middle of it. Things were really getting intense between Germany and America and Allies and Axis. So Auschwitz was a Jewish concentration camp in southern Poland. It bordered, Auschwitz still does border Slovakia and Czech Republic. So this concentration camp was notoriously known for the gas chambers. Heading into Auschwitz, you'll go under an archway that says Arbeit macht frei, meaning in English, work will set you free. This statement could not be more false. 85% of the Jewish prisoners that were sent there died. So 1.1 million Jews died in Auschwitz alone, not the entire Holocaust, before the war was over. Bruno and Shmuel, however, were young and didn't really have an entire grasp of what was going on throughout majority of the movie. Then by the end, they finally understood what was really happening, and they got a grasp on what Auschwitz was, how it's affecting their families, and where they stand throughout this war.
So what are some things that you should watch for during the film? So I think the first thing is that you should watch for how Bruno's family is so easily persuaded that Jews and the other people being imprisoned in concentration camps are so bad. I mean, they're pretty much brainwashed by the German government.
Another key thing that should be watched for during this movie is how easily people believed the things that were being said about the Jewish prisoners, and how everyone lied about what was happening to them.
Bruno's mom realizes how messed up the system is and realizes that her husband is doing the wrong thing and leads to many fights.
Why should you care about this movie? This film is a great peek into what it was like not only to be a Jewish person in a concentration camp, but also just a regular everyday citizen in Nazi Germany. Kid, adult, anyone.
The perspective and bias in this story was really not that bad at all. And the one thing that we noticed is that the brutality of war was definitely skimmed over in this movie. This is definitely has to do with the fact that it was a PG-13 movie, yet there was not many brutal scenes in this movie, and they could have maybe added in a little more just to make it more realistic. But overall, we feel like the movie didn't actually have any bias at all. It portrayed the info very good in a way that made you understand what was going on.
A good discussion question resulting from this movie is, can wars be moral?
What are your rights? Is it ever okay to fight for your rights?
We had was, are people inherently good or bad? What is the human nature?
So after watching The Boy in the Striped Pajamas through to the end, I give this movie a 4 out of 5 stars. It was good, yet the chances of the ending actually happening was slim. Although I rather liked the movie and thought it was good for its rating of PG-13.
I really like this movie. Overall, I think I'd give it about a 4 out of 5. It was definitely kind of held back by its PG-13 rating. I feel like if they'd gone with a higher rated movie, maybe R, then it could have showed the more violent and realistic sides of the Holocaust a little bit better. But overall, I think that the child's view and the ending were both very unique. Super solid movie.
Overall, I'd give this movie a 4 stars as well. It depicts the movie through the child's eye and really just does a good job relaying the info in a way that's not too violent and gets the point across well. I give it a 4 star and I highly recommend it.